Mayor and council members, you are now live on YouTube and it is 5 o'clock.
Okay, we'll get started. Welcome everyone to this virtual workshop meeting of the Livermore City Council at 5 o'clock, Monday, September 20th, 2021. And the how to participate in this meeting is the information is given at the end of the agenda, and it's what we've been doing for a while. So I think everyone pretty much knows how to do it, but do check with the end of the agenda, and also the city clerk will tell you how to participate at the appropriate time as well. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Bonanno.
Here.
Councilmember Carling.
I'm here.
Councilmember Kick.
Here.
Vice Mayor Monroe.
Here.
Mayor Warner.
Here. So tonight we're doing a special workshop meeting regarding a selection of the General Plan Advisory Committee interview candidates and the interview questions. And there's an opportunity for the public to address us with respect to that single item at the beginning of the meeting, which is now. And City Clerk, could you tell everyone how to participate if they want to address us considering that one item?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. When participating in this portion of tonight's meeting, one comment may be given per person regarding only the special meeting item on the agenda. Members of the public can participate by using the raise hand feature or *9 if calling in when the item begins. Please do not wait until the public comment period opens to raise your hand. Instead, raise your hand now. Once public comment opens, each participant's name will be announced and their 3 minutes will begin upon being unmuted. The mayor will announce the conclusion of the public comment period after comments have been voiced into the record.
Okay, do we have anybody who wishes to address us on this item?
Mayor, no comments have been received.
Okay, I'll close the public comment on this item and we can begin with the staff report.
Honorable Mayor, this is Mark Roberts, the City Manager, and I'm going to introduce Senior Planner Andy Ross, who will take us through the first part of the process this evening, which is the selection of the candidates. Mr. Ross.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. Can everyone hear me and see my screen all right?
Yes.
Great, thank you. So recently at your September 13th council meeting, council approved the committee selection process and interview schedule. And so as Mr. Roberts just described, tonight's item will be presented in two parts, and we'll go through each. The first will be the candidate selection process, whereby council will identify the applicants they wish to interview. And then second, council will select the 5 interview questions. Quickly, council adopted an interview schedule as follows. Workshops will be held on September 28th, September 30th, and October 7th to interview the General Plan Advisory Committee applicants. And at the final workshop, council will make selection of 15 committee members and 4 alternates. Each candidate will have 15 minutes to answer 5 questions. And then following the final workshop and council selection, committee members will be sworn in by the city clerk, and the committee is anticipated to have their first meeting later this October. So staff received 48 applications for the General Plan Advisory Committee over a nearly 5-week recruitment period. And these applications were provided to council for independent review. Of these applications, 2 applicants have since withdrawn, so there's a total of 46. Tonight, each council member will select their top 6 candidates to interview, one at a time in a random and rotating sequence until 30 individuals have been selected to interview. The clerk has generated a random order, and this order will rotate, where first round will go 1 through 5. On the second round, the second council member will go first, and so on. This ensures that at least that each council member will be first and last at least once through the process. And there'll be 6 rounds until 30 interview candidates have been selected. So at this point, staff will take a break for any questions about the process, after which I'll hand it over to Marie Weber, your city clerk, who will help facilitate the selection process.
Do we have any questions? Don't think so. I just want to point out that the way we're going to do this is that the city clerk will call on each of us, and when it's our turn to make a selection, and then we'll display the results. And that'll give us, and that the next person won't be called upon until the results are displayed. And that'll give us time to do whatever we need to, checking off our lists and everything. So we'll just, get it done in some kind of orderly sequence with enough time to make sure we're keeping track of what's going on. And if at any point, one of us feels like we've gotten behind in the checking off the list or whatever, just let the city clerk know that, hey, hold up for a second, if you could, while we're not ready. So does that all make sense? Okay, so I think we're ready to begin at this point. City clerk, could you start us off?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is your city clerk, Marie Weber. In a randomized order selection, the council members will submit their applicant's name for the first round in the following order: Mayor Warner, Councilmember Kick, Councilmember Bonanno, Vice Mayor Monroe, and Councilmember Carling. I will go ahead and share my screen, and as you give me names, I will go ahead and type them in. Mayor Warner,
Okay.
whenever you're ready.
I'm ready. Former Mayor John Marchand.
Councilmember Kick, whenever you're ready.
Heriberto Revuelta, Herieberto.
I'm sorry, Councilmember Kick, could you say that one more time?
Herieberto. Berto.
It's number 42 on the original list. So that we might want to call that out to help her.
Thank you.
Councilmember Bonanno.
Number 1 on the list, Krista Alexi.
Vice Mayor Monroe.
Wait a minute, number 38 on the list, Manav Patel.
Councilmember Carling.
Yes, Alana Loudon. I don't know what number she is. Alana. Last name Laudone.
Okay, for round 2, we'll begin with Councilmember Kick.
Number 47, Jeremy Troop-Massey.
Councilmember Bonanno.
Number 25, David Kent.
Vice Mayor Monroe.
Number 26, Timothy Kingsbury.
Asa Strout.
Mayor Warner.
David Martinez, number 33.
Round 3 will begin with Councilmember Bonanno.
Number 21, Thomas Matt Graves.
Vice Mayor Monroe.
Number 9, Carmelita Chiang.
Nicholas Graves,
Mayor Warner.
Greta Stahl, number 45.
Tracy Kronzak, number 28.
Round 4 will begin with Vice Mayor Monroe.
Maxwell Young, number 48. Well, 46.
Councilmember Carly.
George Butcher,
Mayor Warner.
Ellen Burnham. Number 6.
Councilmember Kick.
Stephanie Shang. Number 43.
Councilmember Bonanno.
Eric Bjorklund, number 5.
We'll begin round 5 with Councilmember Carly.
Steve Spadowski,
Mayor Warner.
John Doyle, number 14.
Councilmember Kick.
Number 4, Arun Bhatia.
Councilmember Bonanno.
Number 23, Paul Halverson.
Vice Mayor Monroe.
Number 13, Tom Cox.
We will start round 6 back at Mayor Warner.
Shane Fields, number 18.
Councilmember Kick.
Let's move to Ellen Pete. It says here Ellen C. Pert, but I'm pretty sure this is Ellen Pete.
Councilmember Bonanno.
Number 27, Robert Klubal.
Vice Mayor Monroe,
Number 37, Harshit Patel.
and Councilmember Carlin.
Jim Goff,
Mayor, that concludes the selection process.
Okay. So now we're on to the, so thank you very much. And I just want to say to everyone who applied, I'm very impressed with all the applicants, and we only had a certain many to get through this phase. And I hope that those who weren't selected will continue to participate as we go along here. There will be other opportunities. Any other council member want to make a comment at this point?
no, I think I agree with you. I appreciate the time and the effort that people put into filling out the applications, and like you, and I'm sure our colleagues, hope that they take advantage of the opportunities to give back to the city in a variety of different ways, including advisory boards. We're always looking for people to serve on advisory boards. And so, although I'm sure you're disappointed in not being able to be interviewed for the general plan, please keep your eye out for opportunities advertised in various places, including the newspaper and on the website for advisory board appointees. Thanks.
Councilmember Kick?
Yeah, I was going to say advisory boards. We actually have some openings. We didn't get enough applications for the last round. So please go ahead and look at that. And if I'm not mistaken, staff can correct me. I'm pretty sure this Thursday is the first just general visioning workshop for the Plan 2045. So that's for anybody to show up and participate in. So I hope that everybody joins in on that meeting on Thursday.
Okay, I think I want to thank my fellow council members. There was a lot of work to read all these applications. It was great to see who we have in the community that wants to participate. And it did take a bit. And thank you for making this selection process very smooth. So we're on to the next part of this meeting, which is a little bit more complicated. And just want to start with a couple of introductory comments, make sure the rest of the council members are on board with what I'm proposing here in my recollection. So the second piece of this are what are the questions that we want to ask those that we've just now selected to interview? And what we did, the way I remember it, and I think it's consistent with the email from Mr. Stewart, was we were each asked to submit one question that we wanted to ask, and with a backup question in case there was a similar question already asked by a fellow council member. But the idea was we were starting with one question per council member, and that we would then go from there, and we would see it all. So in that spirit, what I'm going to ask us to do is, of the questions that we originally submitted, to pick one that we want to, for this exercise, start with. Now we can pick one that we submitted, and at this point we can also take an opportunity to rephrase it if we would like. And we're also free to pick from one of the 5 that the staff submitted as suggestions. So, but we each start with one. And that as we go through that, I believe Mr. Ross will put up on his screen our suggested starting point. Then what I would ask us to do is look at each of those questions submitted by us individually, that we collectively look at it and see if that question as phrased is acceptable in the spirit of each of us gets to ask the question we want, or does it need some final modification? Does that sound like a process we can all get behind? I see.
Sounds way complicated.
No, it's just start with a question and then we'll do it. But we each get one question. It's that simple. So anyway, I saw enough heads to say we'll do that. Rather than each of us submit 5 questions. I mean, we're just one question per person to start with. So who would like to go first with their question? Okay, let's see. I'm going to have to, the hands went up and let me get to the,
I think it was the vice mayor. I think she beat me to it.
I think so, but I just want to get to the list so I know how to do it. So, okay, it's the Vice Mayor Monroe, then Councilmember Bonanno goes. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll just start by saying that I liked the compilation questions that the staff put together better than any of the, the 10, including the 2 that I submitted. So I'm going to choose one from that compilation, and the one that I particularly like is number 3. How would you serve the needs of the many diverse residents of this community? Even at times it may go against your personal preferences. I just feel that speaks to the need of this committee in particular. So that would be mine.
Okay, so Andy will grab that and put it up on the list. What you can do, Andy, is just put it at the end of the document on another page, just so we got you don't have to open another document, just grab a place and copy it. Okay, Councilmember Bonanno.
I'm going to keep it simple. I will take number 3 from the list of 10. What is the purpose of the general plan and how is it used to guide decision making?
Okay, you can still have your hand up, Councilmember Bonanno. Councilmember Kick.
Can you scroll for me, Andy? Please. Thank you. I liked it reworded the way you reworded it better. Number 5 on your recommendations.
Okay, are you done, Councilmember Kick?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So do we, okay, so now we're on to Councilmember Carling.
Yes, I agree with the Vice Mayor. I thought the staff did an excellent job in summarizing. I'll go with question number 1 on their list.
Okay, and I would like to choose question 2 from the 10. And I'm going to modify it just a little bit. Simplify it a little bit and just say, what are the top 1 to 2 aspects instead of 2 to 3? And why are you a good match for the task at hand?
So sorry, Mayor, to clarify, you'd like me to strike out?
What are the top 1 to 2 aspects of the general plan update that are most important to you? And we don't have to go through skills and abilities, just and how are you a good match for the task at hand? Or it's more of a high. I could how they do that. So that's, and the reason that I'm doing this, I'm very interested that as we go through the interview process, that we really know where people are coming from and what's their focus, and that we get a representative of view, a representation, a broad representation of viewpoints. So that's that. So I'll get to you in just a second, Councilmember Kick. So I know a couple of you wanted to, rather than choose 1, you wanted to choose 5 because you were happy with it. But this is what I'm suggesting is the starting point. And what I would suggest that if these questions as phrased are good enough, then we're done. But let's take each one and modify it to where it's acceptable. And that way we each get an equal voice in choosing what we want to hear as part of our due diligence. So, Councilmember Kick.
I'm fine with the wording of the questions as they are. I am just wondering, are we going to offer them the chance to ask us questions at the end? Do you think that is something that we will even have time for? I know they're having 15 minutes and 5
Well,
questions?
we could, and that's something that, it's what we've done in other cases. We've got a lot of interviews to go through, and it may give us some insight into how they're thinking. Generally, we've asked that question because we're trying to onboard people into our advisory committees, and there's a little bit of this. I personally don't think it helps us make the decision, and it chews up a lot of time. And then the question is, do all 5 of us answer that question? Which one of us? Do we do it in random order? It just gets really complicated, and I think it takes us sideways, frankly.
Can I ask that we explain, like, one of us just has a line and says, we understand you might have questions for us, but this is a long process, so please direct your questions to the appropriate staff member?
Sure. And I think that, what we do, I think at the beginning of this, we'll have a little introductory, summary of what this is all about and how important it is. We're asking people to be in it for the long haul. And if before the interviews actually take place, if they have questions that they ask us in advance or the staff, maybe it's most appropriate to just ask staff, because asking us individually could be viewed as lobbying or something. So I would say if they've got questions about what they're getting into, that they do that in advance of showing up for the interview. That's what I would think on that one. That's my suggestion. Is that okay with the rest of you on that question? Okay, I see general consensus. Vice Mayor Monroe.
Yeah, so to the sort of preliminary to the wordsmithing, one of the areas I'm concerned about that's does not in my mind appear in these 5 questions is question number 4 on the staff list. What aspects of Livermore are most important, require the most attention, or have changed the most since the adoption of the last general plan? Then should be considered for the general plan update, and why? My concern with that is that gives the opportunity to, sort of reflect on what Livermore is and what its needs are. Now, that might be duplicated in question 5. I think it's not quite the same thing, but I'm wondering if there's a way to include some of that specific direction into that question, or I don't know.
I'm good with that. I think the spirit of the question that I propose, which is very similar to 4, it's the same thing. What aspects of Livermore are most important? It's the same thing. What are the top 1 to 2 aspects of the general plan update regarding Livermore? But I mean, it's obviously it's the Livermore's general plan update. So then the next piece of that, or most attention. So that's just most important or require the most attention. That's just redundant. So we don't need 2 ways to say the same thing, or have changed the most since the adoption of the last general plan. And then you get into the question of, is change good or bad? Right. So I think 4 is frankly, a more wordy way to ask a very clear question.
As long as that sensibility of,
So what I would suggest is
yeah.
add the 1 or 2 words or phrase to 5 that you would like to make you happy.
All right, let me think on that while someone else talks.
Okay. But I agree with you. They're similar, but 4 is just kind of, to me, in my mind, it's just a wordy way to say something very clear. What matters here and why you? Councilmember Bonanno.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really oppose having this question, but I do think we need to distinguish it from one of the questions that was in the written application, where there could be a lot of overlap. Now, maybe that's okay, but maybe we can, the question on the application, what are the most important issues you see facing Livermore in the future? So it gets to
Well,
what.
that's, yeah, that it is that, but I'll tell you frankly, and a lot of the times I've been in the interview process, hearing somebody answer that live is quite a bit different. I mean, you really get a sense of, I mean, in my mind, to me, what matters to them, why are they there? I want to hear it orally.
Okay, I'm just pointing out that we had a question on that where people expressed that, and I hear the difference. I understand the difference in writing and verbally. So I'm not going to object to it at all. I'm just wanted to point out before we get too hung up on it.
No,
We've gotten people's input on that, but the live question will give us a different sense of what they're really passionate about and what they think is most important. So it's
that's
just
what I found in the time. No, that's it. No, I was well aware of that.
okay. That's all I was making sure everyone was aware that it was on the application. That's all.
Hey, could Andy make the font bigger? I
Well,
can't see it. Much better.
you
Thank
forgot
you.
your magnifying glass?
I did. Right.
I've got special computer glasses now.
I don't. So
Okay, are we good?
I thought the vice mayor was going to combine 4 and 5.
Well, she did, or did, yeah.
I'm about to do that. So what I'd like to do with question 5 is to, so let me preface that with, the distinction I see is that the general plan update. I think I have, I'm sorry, I'm really just trying to think this out.
Could I offer something? Because maybe I can get there. I think what it can do is phrase it, what are the top 2 important issues requiring the most attention in Livermore?
I like that. I like that. Yeah.
Right. And why, and how are you a good match for the task at hand?
Right. Thank you. Yeah, that really does help. What I was concerned about was the difference between what I might think the general plan would do as, in general, and a specific area that needs attention. And I think you've captured that. Thank you.
So if you're good with that, with the way I phrased that one, GP update is too wonky. So I like your phrasing.
All right.
So we all,
to clarify, Honorable Mayor, what are what are the top 1 or 2 issues facing? the
One
city?
to two issues that need addressing in Livermore through the general plan update.
Really nice.
And take out that are most important to you. Just take out that because that's obvious. And then it makes it a shorter question.
All right.
How's that?
So what are the top 1 or 2 issues that need addressing in Livermore through the general plan update? And how are you a good match for the task at hand?
Got it?
Yes.
Okay. So I got a motion. Vice Mayor Monroe.
So move.
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Kick. City Clerk, could you call the, what do we call it? A roll call vote.
Councilmember Bonanno,
Aye.
Councilmember Carling,
Aye.
Councilmember Kick,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Monroe,
Aye.
Mayor Warner.
Aye.
And
I
to
think-
clarify, Honorable Mayor, the motion was to accept the 5 questions as they're displayed on the screen in front of you, and to also accept the 30 members that have been chosen by you during the first step of the process.
That was definitely the motion I had in mind.
Very good.
That's what I heard precisely.
All right.
So
thank you.
the only other thing here, what's the order of the questions? Do you guys, we can be done here, but if you want to just delegate it to me and I'll fix the orders. Anybody else want to participate in that? We got one other one and we'll do
I
it.
move that we give Mayor Warner the opportunity to reword the questions as he always does anyways.
Reorder, not
Order.
reword.
Yes,
Reorder.
reorder. Sorry, reorder. My brain's not 100% back to non-sick level, but yes,
Anybody else want to join me? Go ahead. Okay, so you moved that. Got a second? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Bonanno,
Aye.
Councilmember Carling,
Aye.
Councilmember Kick,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Monroe,
Aye.
Mayor Warner.
Aye. Well, thank you all. I think we are done. I think we're all shocked. It's so quick. Okay. We're going to adjourn now to a regular meeting on September 27th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Again, held virtually using Zoom. So thank you all. We're done. Good night.
Thank you.